Hey guys, welcome back to Super Top 10s. Today we'll talk about the top 10 scariest horror movies. Let's head into it. Number 10, It. The fear of clowns is always a very real thing, even if it's become so commonplace to announce that it feels so disingenuous. If you need any further evidence, we direct you to the box office haul of 2017's It, based on the Stephen King novel of the same name, which went on to beat the Exorcist 44-year record as the highest grossing horror film ever. Add a healthy dose of jump scares and a handful of impressive set pieces, and maybe some top-notch CGI. And you've got a recipe for a horror film that's both fun and full of scares. Number 9. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. While the top 4 movies on this list collectively garnered 42% of the total votes counted, they were followed by 6 films that all earned around 3% of the vote each. In other words, these last 6 films were separated by no more than 60 votes. Multiple attempts have been made to breathe new life into the franchise, and we have another one on the way, but none have equaled the original in sheer, over-the-top, power tool-inspired terror. Number 8. The Exorcist. You may not agree that The Exorcist is the scariest movie ever with a whopping 19% of all the votes cast. William Friedkin's adaptation of the eponymous novel about a demon-possessed child and the attempts to banish said demon from the child became the highest-grossing R-rated horror film ever and the first to be nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. It earned 9 other nominations and took home 2 trophies. Its dramatic pacing and somewhat dated effects may seem quaint compared to some contemporary horror, but there's no denying the power the film continues to have over those who see it for the first time. Number 7. Halloween. Coming in at the 7th spot on our list is a film that introduced the world to all-time scream queen Jamie Lee Curtis and put John Carpenter on the map. Halloween is frequently cited as one of the earliest examples of the slasher genre as we know it, and while it may not feature the same kind of realistic gore we've come to expect in films of this category, it packs a lot of tension and some inventive thrills in a relatively small-scale package. The film's legacy is also fairly untouchable. Michael Myers' mask has become the stuff of legend, and the giant unstoppable killer and the final girl have become ingrained in the horror lexicon. There's a reason the franchise is still going on after more than 40 years. Number 6. The Conjuring. James Wan has staked out at a place among the modern masters of horror, directing films like Saw, Dead Silence, Insidious, and inspired by the true events Chiller based on the experiences of real-life paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren. The Warrens, best known for their work on the strange case that inspired the Amityville horror movies, which played a part in The Conjuring 2, were portrayed by Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, who grounded the effective jump scares and freak-out moments with a believable world wariness. Together, Wan and his co-leads found fresh terror and familiar genre tropes, and the end result is a sprawling cinematic universe that only continues to grow. Number 5. The Shining. Literally dozens of Stephen King novels and stories have been adapted for the big screen, and several of those films are considered classics today, like Carrie, Misery, and Pet Sematary, and that doesn't even account for the non-horror stuff like The Shawshank Redemption and Stand By Me. The film's relatively few jump scares are still absolutely chilling, but its true power lies in the way it crawls under your skin and makes you experience Jack Torrance's slow descent into madness. It's rightfully considered as one of the greatest horror films ever made. Number 4. The Ring. It's always a tricky proposition to take something that works well for one culture and try to translate that formula successfully for another, but Gore Verbinski managed that with The Ring. A remake of a Japanese director Hideo Nakata's acclaimed thriller about a cursed videotape, Verbinski's take kept the film's original striking visual imagery, the ghost of a young girl in a white dress with long black hair covering her face, and found that it scared the hell out of audiences no matter where they were from. While the film wasn't as well regarded as its predecessor, it features a committed performance and a then up-and-coming Naomi Watts, and for many, it served as an introduction to East Asian horror cinema.
There's this video that kills you 7 days after you watch it.
Number 3. Insidious. James Wan has already shown up higher on the list, but before he and Patrick Wilson made The Conjuring, they worked on a supernatural thriller about a young boy who falls into a coma and begins to channel a malevolent spirit. The bare bones of the story weren't the most groundbreaking, but frequent Wan collaborator Lee Wannell infused it with a compelling enough mythology that it spawned 3 more installments. Wan also stated that Insidious was meant to be something of a corrective to the the outright violence of Saw, which compelled him to craft something on a more spiritual level, and the end result is an effective chiller which is frequently regarded as one of the best jump scares ever put on screen. Number 2. Sinister. Writer C. Robert Cargill was reportedly inspired to pen the script based on a nightmare he had while watching The Ring, and the story does share a minor similarity with that film with the creepy snuff film angle. But for many who saw it, the dramatic reveals and creepy set pieces far outweighed any recycled genre tropes that might have been present. Plus, there's at least one report out that says it's the scariest movie ever made, so that must count for something. Number 1. Hereditary. Writer-director Ari Aster made a huge splash with this future directional debut, a dark family drama about the nature of a grief couched within a supernatural horror film. Toni Collette earned a spot in the pantheon of a great Oscar snubs with her slowly ratcheted up to 11 performance as bedeviled mother Annie. But the movie's biggest shock came courtesy of, well, we won't spoil that here. Suffice to say, Hereditary struck such a nerve up with moviegoers that it instantly turned Aster into a director to watch and shot up first place on our list. This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of our videos in the future. Also, watch the 2 videos that are on your screen because I'm sure you'll love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video.